Good day, everyone. TESOL International Association's Affiliate Network Professional Council, ANPC, is pleased to present this webinar entitled The Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, Advocacy, Impact, Challenges, and Takeaways. Our speaker today is Richard Niyibigira from the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, ATER. We are very pleased to welcome all of you to this webinar. My name is Ulrich Schrader, or Uli, the chair of the ANPC, and I will be your moderator for today's event. Today's presentation will last 60 minutes and include a question and answer period at the end. To enter a question, simply type your question into the box on the lower left side of your screen and then click on the Send button. And now it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Richard Niyibigira has been an ESL teacher, teacher trainer, and program administrator for over 10 years. Throughout his teaching career, Richard has organized, facilitated, and/or participated in professional development trainings, workshops, and conferences, both at the national and international level. He is a founding member and current president of the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, ATER. He was the chair of the second Africa TESOL conference that took place in Kigali, Rwanda in May 2017. And he is the co-author of Keynote Primary English for Rwanda, books 1 to 3, and their respective teachers' guides. Richard, welcome to the program, and let's get started.
Thank you so much, Yuli, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are. I know we are at different time zones. It's my pleasure to be presenting to you and to give you the presentation that has the title, The Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, Advocacy, Impact, Challenges, and Takeaways. And this is a presentation that is that will, at the end of the presentation, we should be getting some information on background information about ATER, the idea around its existence, but also some challenges that we faced, the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda faced, and some takeaways from what things that we did that worked and that probably if you are part of a teacher association that you could replicate and use in your setting. So you're all welcome, and I hope this is going to be a useful session for everyone. So starting with a background about Rwanda, just to talk about Rwanda, this is a country in Central Africa. If you look at the map on the right of the slides, there is a red dot, and that is Rwanda. Very small. So in Africa, Central Africa, with 26,338 square kilometer and around 12 million population. And just to give you some information, Rwanda is a former Belgian colony, and Belgium is a French-speaking country. So this information will help us as we go into the presentation. Yeah, and talking about Rwanda again, I'm trying to advance my slides. Okay. Yeah, talking about education in Rwanda. In 2003, Rwanda launched a free and compulsory 9-year basic education program where every Rwandan child has to go to school and do the 9-year basic education. And in 2012, the 9 years were extended to 12, and all education K through 12 was made free for all students for all children in public schools. After the 9-year basic education, which is compulsory and free for everyone, students make a choice between either going to TVET school, technical and vocational training schools, or continue with regular education that takes them to even university. And we also have teacher training colleges, and the teacher training colleges give certificates or diplomas to teachers depending on the levels they will teach in Rwanda. So, and these are nursery, primary, or high school. Depending on the level you will teach, you will get a diploma or certificate or degree from the teacher training colleges in Rwanda. And if I talk about 3 facts about Rwanda, many of you who have heard about Rwanda before, who might have heard about the sad events that happened in the 1994, and that is the genocide that took place in Rwanda in 1994 and took almost, more than a million people in just 3 months. But today, with Rwanda today, Rwanda has the highest percentage of women in the parliament in the world, with 60% of the members of the parliament being women. And according to the World Economic Forum in 2017, Rwanda is the 11th safest country in the world today. So, and languages, there is one mother tongue in Rwanda, and that is Kinyarwanda, and that is spoken by everyone. And French in Rwanda was the official and medium of instruction after Kinyarwanda, which was and still a medium of instruction in lower primary. French was another official language and medium of instruction until 2008. Today, when we talk about French, it's still used in schools, and it's still used as an official language and taught as a subject in schools, K through 12. English, when it comes to English, English was not taught in Rwanda until 1995, when it was introduced as a 3rd official language. And English became a medium of instruction at all levels in education in 2008, replacing French. And that was had a few reasons behind, including some political reasons, but mainly regional integration. At that time, Rwanda has just joined the East African community, and the East African community is the member countries of the East African community are English-speaking countries. Rwanda had also joined the Commonwealth, and obviously it's an English-speaking community, and Rwanda had all the advantages into joining. Shifting from French to English as a medium of instruction, and not forgetting that English is again was gaining a lot of attention and being like the language of business, and Rwanda wanted to really go forward and do business with everyone in the world and allow its people to do business. So those were the main reasons around the shift in 2008. But now, looking at this shift that took place in just 1 year, 2007 until 2007, everyone is using French as a medium of instruction, and then 2008, English replaces, becomes the medium of instruction. And that was a really sudden shift. Now, dealing with that, the sudden shift, the government tried some putting in place support to teachers, and partners of the Ministry of Education also came in and started supporting the teachers to really do their best. And at this time, all the teachers were receiving a training during their long holidays. So at the end of the year, of the school year, there is a 2-month, 3-month holiday, and teachers were using that for training, and it was a compulsory training for all the teachers in Rwanda, and that is an English language proficiency, and then also language methodology. Now, many Ministry of Education partners also engaged into different teacher training activities, and in that is also the time that the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda was founded by a group of English teachers as a means to support each other through the transition. Obviously, looking at everything that was happening, teachers themselves needed to do something to get themselves ready and to really fit into the transition well. So, and also dealing with the sudden shift, this brought some challenges. Teachers were facing a lot of challenges due to that, to the shift. And one of them was frustration. That you had to learn English. Now it's going to be teaching in English. You've been teaching French or teaching in French. Now you have to shift. No matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been teaching in French, you have to change and teach in English, or teach English if you are a language teacher. And that brought in a lot of frustration. I mean, getting people out of their box, really outside their comfort zone, and having them understand or feeling that we have to do this or we will lose our jobs. And that brought something around fear of losing job, because if you couldn't teach in English, then you run a risk of being replaced by someone more capable and more, someone who could teach in English. And at that time, a lot of teachers, teachers from the neighboring countries, which are English-speaking countries, namely countries like Uganda, countries like Kenya, all these people were now coming to Rwanda to look for teaching jobs, because if you knew English and you could teach English, that was a really good time for you to come and work in Rwanda. So there were people coming to look for jobs, and there are people who are already in the job and they have to learn English and teach English or teach in English. Otherwise, they will be replaced by people who could do that. So, and another thing that happened at that time is really looking at having been teaching for 10, 15, 20 years or more, and you've been teaching in French, and now you have to shift to learn a new language at an older age, and also the environment in which we are. As I said, in Rwanda there is only one mother tongue, and that is Kinyarwanda, and that is spoken by every single Rwandan. So everyone can communicate in one same language. So it was really hard for the teachers to learn English at an older age and in such a monolingual environment. There was a lot of challenges associated with that. And now thinking about the involvement of ATER and how it came in dealing with the shift in 2008, since 2008, all the activities, everything that was taking place, everything ATER was doing it in the capital city, based in the capital city, and mainly because the people who founded the association were living in Kigali and they were working in Kigali. And it was easier because these are people who are doing other jobs. I mean, they were working, be teachers, and it was easier for them to communicate in just that small circle. And another thing is communication wasn't really great at that time. Internet wasn't very good, and you couldn't say that it could reach the rural areas, so people can communicate with people outside the city. And even with the phone calls, it was still expensive at that time. So that's one of the reasons why everyone, I mean, the members were based in Kigali. But in 2011, that's when ATER received its legal recognition as an NGO, educational NGO to work in Rwanda, and it started now increasing membership base through reaching out to teachers in more remote areas. And mainly is when you look at the teachers who were in Kigali and who were meeting, it's when you look at their level, it was, I would say it was a little higher, and they were supporting themselves, but they needed to reach out to more teachers in and outside Kigali, which is the capital city of Rwanda. So, but the biggest challenge here is that it wasn't really easy to communicate remotely with teachers outside of Kigali. Social media had not gone that far then. As I said, internet wasn't at its great, and so there was a lot of challenges that teachers faced to reach out to each other. And it was also hard to physically be in places where teachers are, or for them to come to Kigali, because some of those were living in so remote areas that even transportation itself is a huge problem. And looking at people could walk hours and hours to get to the main road where they can catch a bus and come to Kigali. Or if you're going to that place, then the bus will stop you here, and then you have to walk hours to get to the teachers to talk to. And one of looking at all these challenges, it was time to think about, so this is an issue, this is a, we would like to get access or to be with everyone, with as many people as possible, but how do we reach out to everyone? How do the Association of Teachers of English work get to other teachers? When you look at the teachers who need the most support from the association, there were those ones living in remote areas. But how do we get them with all these challenges? So that's when we brought in the idea of teacher-driven professional development. And teacher-driven professional development, looking at ways of making teachers accountable for their professional development, without them maybe having to come to Kigali, without you having to reach out to them every time, but having them also do something that would contribute to their own professional development. And looking at with the self-driven professional development, it also came with some challenges, of course. And one of those, well, the professional development culture in Rwanda. Everyone was kind of asking themselves the question, why should I do this? Why should I do professional development? Some people were like, yeah, I have my diploma, I have my degree, I have everything I need. Why should I do this training? Why should I join the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda? And also owning it. So understanding that professional development is learning is a continuous process, and understanding that professional development is something that you need as a teacher, no matter how many degrees you have, no matter how high your degree is, was something to really to consider. And also understanding the benefits of a membership in a professional, the benefits of belonging to a professional association. And another challenge was also the membership fee. And with these ones, talking about the benefits of being a member of a professional association like the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, a lot of teachers were like, so this is an association, I have to be in it, I have to pay my annual fee, which is was 15,000, that's around $17 per year. And when you look at the salary of some of the teachers, for example, being like $30 per month, then a teacher would just ask themselves, why should I pay this money, and why should I join the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda? And really the annual membership fee being an issue and a challenge, and for everyone to get to understand why belonging to such a professional network is necessary. So some of the things that we did, it was now a time to start campaigning for a mindset shift, especially about professional development, for people to understand that yes, it's professional development and it's me, and I have to own it, and I have to be responsible for my professional development, making people understand why this is necessary, and making people understand why it is necessary to belong to a professional network, and getting to know what's going on in my field, what's happening in my field, sharing that experience, sharing all those frustrations that you're facing, that someone else in another school is facing, and getting to look at how can we solve this together? What did you try when you had this challenge? What did I try? How can we merge these two things we tried to come up with the best solution to an issue that we had? So really changing people's mindset and making them understand that professional development is really something that the teacher needs to own. So looking at the professional development culture, some of those teachers who believed, I know enough, there's no need for further professional development. For those who felt like, yes, I can speak English and I can speak I can teach in English. One thing they didn't remember is there is, at that time at least, there is another group of teachers who need their support. And for that to happen, there should be such a professional network where they are meeting and where they can get to support each other. But if someone is saying, well, I think I know enough, I don't need any further professional development beyond my degree. So what we did, as I said, is just including some change management and mindset changing sessions into ATER trainings. So as at some point we're having trainings with members, training with everyone, and these are some of the things we try to work on: changing mindset and management, change management, really looking at the levels of frustration everyone was at it was necessary to have such a training on change management. How do I manage change? If the shift has happened and I'm not going to turn things around, how do I deal with the shift? How do I live with it? And how do I become effective as a teacher in this in all these changes that are happening? And one of the ways we really think is that helped us is starting small and knowing the audience and design the activities based on the audience needs. And by this, I'm talking about the way we started. Every time you have a methodology training or a language proficiency training, related training, there's also that session about changing mindset. Why is this important? Why is it necessary? So people can start understanding the reason behind whatever is happening. So because when you simply try, and it happened in other settings or in other types of trainings that were going on at that time, some teachers would be like, this is being imposed on me. I'm not willing to be part of this, but it is being imposed. So that was one thing that we need to deal with. People not feeling like they are imposed to be part of their professional development, and really making them responsible and feel like, yeah, this is something good that is happening to me and that I have to pursue. And another thing with understanding the benefits of membership in a professional association, ATER was the first teachers association of its kind in Rwanda. So at that time, everyone, when we wanted to expand and have more members, everyone you look at, everyone you go to, they just ask you, how do I benefit? And when this question is asked, how do I benefit? A lot of them are referring to material and money. So monetary benefits, material benefits, this is what people are looking for. If I become a member of the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, what do I benefit in terms of money? Who pays me and how much do they pay me? So it was a really, really big one, getting people understand that it's you being part of a professional network, and you're not going to be paid for that, anything for that. You're going to get something that is worth that money. I mean, more than that money you would like to get, or more than any material things that you would get. You're getting a professional family. You're getting to a place where you can share and learn from your colleagues, from the people who do the same thing as you. And that one being one of the main challenges. And again, that's with the change management and mindset change trainings has helped us really getting to some people understand, yes, this is important. And one of the challenges that we have in the beginning with the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda, and that is based on what people see in being the members of ATER, we had people register for 1 year, someone registers, and as I say, they just wait for something to happen. They just register, okay, I'm a member of the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda. At that time, we had some partnership with other English language promoters in Rwanda, the US Embassy in Rwanda, the British Council, and other organizations that are in the field of promoting the English language teaching and learning. We could get some trainings, online trainings, face-to-face trainings. We could get some people go to trainings outside Kigali, and everyone was like, so if I become a member next year, I will go to a conference in the UK, or next year we go to a conference in Uganda next outside of Rwanda. If it doesn't happen, this person leaves the association the next year, says, okay, I paid my membership fee, I didn't get what I wanted, and we were having some, if you're having some, we would facilitating some organizations with British Council, for example, working on some of the projects with them. And if you're not part of that, then you don't find a reason to belong to the association. So we were losing people coming and going because they didn't really understand the reason behind being part of a professional network. And with this, we now started thinking about these people who are coming and leaving the next year, and really within that year they didn't contribute anything to the association, and they just paid their membership fee, their $15,000 or their $17-18, and then they just waited for something to happen. And this goes with the strategy that we're using, like talking about members, hey, come to the association, there are a lot of benefits, and forgetting to emphasize that being a member of a professional network is the very first benefit. So we opted to telling the truth about what the association can offer. And it was clear, it was made clear for people who joined that they are coming together to contribute to the success of each other and to the success of the association, and not the other way around. One of the things is, if the association becomes stronger, that's when benefits are going to become many, opportunities are going to become even more. But if no one is contributing to the association, if no one is helping the association to stay alive and active, then there's nothing that is going to happen. And those opportunities you're looking for, you're not going to find them because there is basically no association. So setting up clear expectations really is a key to having committed members, so that if a member comes and joins, they know I'm joining because of A, B, C, D, not because of what they are thinking they need to get, not like what we said of joining to just get money or to get trainings or to get to travel abroad, or to, no, letting people know that these are things that can happen, but because we are working, not because we are part of a professional network that we don't contribute to. So, and again, in the process, we realized, of course, we did lose some members, and a few members had to come back in the end because they started and felt like, oh yeah, that was right. We needed to be part of the professional network, not because of the material or monetary benefits. So with this, it's really better to start, if you're starting a new association, or if the association is still in its early stages, I think it's better to start with a few members who understand the why behind the existence of the association or of the network. It's better to do that than recruiting a big pool of members that you will lose the following year. And that is that is because when you have a few but consistent members, then that makes it easy. That makes it you have people you sit together with, you present with. I mean, you think about the life of the network together, of the association together, and you grow the association, you grow the membership base together as that team. So it's really important you make the expectations clear, and people don't feel like I'm coming because this great things will happen. I'm coming because I will go for a conference somewhere next year or next month, making people understand that you're coming because you want to contribute to the profession, to the life of the association, and to support other teachers, and also to support yourself to become better, a better professional by belonging to such a professional network. And like I said, the membership fee, which is our membership fee is $17 a year. And as I said, we have some members, the teachers in primary, at the primary level with primary level teaching certificates, they can get up to 30, some of them are getting like $30 a month for payment. And now this one when you look at that, someone getting $30 a month, asking them to just spare some $17 and pay for the membership was challenging sometimes. And people were saying, no, I can't afford this. And at some point when we were getting members, we said, okay, let's ask members to maybe pay in installments, the $17, you just pay a few dollars this month and this month and this month. But it didn't work as well, because the main challenge was people saying, yeah, this is, I don't think I can afford this. I can pay money to be part of this professional network. Some of them said, yes, we need this, we need to be part of this network, but we can't afford it. Look at what our salary is. And this has made us really reflect and think about, yes, we're looking at these teachers, and most of these teachers who cannot afford the membership fee are the ones that really need support. They are the ones that need to be part of that network. They are the ones that need to be talked to. So with this in mind, we just decided to divide the membership into categories, and then created a category of beneficiaries. And a beneficiary does not need to pay a membership. So they are ATER beneficiaries, not necessarily members who would commit their time and money to the life of ATER, but people whom ATER supports to improve their teaching, to improve their language proficiency. So one of the things is really, I know us being into different settings, taking into account the membership potential financial capabilities and serving them accordingly is a key to having members, and to have people feel part of the association and feel part of the network. Yeah, and so teachers owning their professional development. And with this, just this leaves us to the journey with the communities of practice, and that's the way we thought it was best to start bringing teachers together and not asking people, hey, you have to pay membership fee. Communities of practice was like the solution to us to really get to know what is happening and to know to control what was going on. So in 2013, as the association, we start 3 communities of practice, again in Kigali. And what happened is that at that time, ATER owned 100% of the recruitment and training responsibilities of all members. ATER provided, when we organize a training, We provide meals, we provide transportation reimbursement to COP teachers as an incentive for them to attend. So this now started getting, okay, we're getting teachers, a lot of teachers who are coming to trainings, whom we are talking about, to whom we are talking about ATER. So, but did this really work? The Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda owning everything and paying meals, paying transportation, did it work? No, because in the end, we found there were a lot of challenges associated with it. And what happened is by 2014, as we went on, some of these things did not keep happening. Looking at providing meals and transportation funds to cover that. If they're not there, then people are going to not come, because some of them are coming basically because of the money, the transportation and meals and everything. But if it is not there, then why should I come? People start asking themselves, why should I go? So by the end of 2014, only one of the 3 COPs was still operating, and with very few members, from 30 to down to 10, 15 members who were meeting. Because ATER could not afford the financial cost attached to the COP training and COP, the follow-up of the COP activities. And also, as I said, some teachers were attending because for free meal, for transport, to just get the transport fee and everything, and not because they are really willing to improve professionally. So it also started becoming too much work for the ATER leadership, because as I said, these are teachers or people who are working in the education sector, having their daily jobs, and adding to that, working for the association, going to different places to give the trainings. So with these 3 COPs, communities of practice, people are going there to offer trainings, and it got to a point where it was too much, because and it wasn't scalable really. If it is 3 COPs and then it is 5, if it becomes 5 or 8 or 10, how are just the ATER team, the leadership team, and a few members going to reach out to everyone? So it wasn't very practical and didn't work. So we needed to shift gears, and by shift the gears, we did have 2 options. One was to fundraise and to keep the COP activities running, and the other was to find a way to bring ownership to COP members. And thinking about these 2 options, we thought about sustainability. Which one is more sustainable? Fundraise. Okay, you can fundraise and get money this year and run community or practice activities. What if you don't get money next year? So that was an issue. Now, how do we find sustainability? How do we sustain what we are doing with the communities of practice? And that was bringing ownership to the members was the key to getting there. And by bringing ownership, what we're trying is, who is the owner? Making the members the owner, and making the members the leaders, and making the members responsible for their professional development, and having ATER as a support. ATER is there to support. So that's how we started now looking at empowering COP leaders. So initially we had thought about, and as we went ahead, 2015, we started having more COPs. So what we had to think about is, how do we make COP leaders accountable, and how do we sustain this? So we started now thinking about, how do we empower the COP leaders? And the trainings that we used to do with our communities of practice, we used to have at least 3 workshops every year in each community of practice. We have 3 workshops. And that is, at a time we had 5 communities of practice, we were having 15 workshops every year that we're leading, and that is going and going into different parts of the country to lead the trainings, and that was exhausting. Again, it's one of the things that were too much. Now, what we thought about is bringing the COP leaders together in one place, and then we do a workshop with them, and the workshop is how do you run a COP, how do you lead trainings, how do you encourage your teachers to share. And now when teachers go back, those leaders, the COP leaders, they go back, they share their experiences from the COP work, and as they come for the training, they share what they are doing with their peers, and they give each other feedback on what is happening. And as they also get training on how to lead teams and how to design workshops and how to do reporting. And what is asked of them is to cascade the trainings, to cascade it, and to report to ATER on a monthly basis. So this time we are saying we're not coming every time. ATER might come on a given day, but it's not like we're coming every time. So we don't want to limit you to just 3 trainings. You can have as many as you can. You are the leader. You are the people who own that. So we task them to go and cascade the training and report to us on a monthly basis. We have social media, WhatsApp groups where all those members meet, and larger ATER WhatsApp groups. And every time there is an event happening within a community or practice, they share pictures, they share a report with us. We also share a report template that they are asked to use as they report to us. One of the other things is what happens with the community or practice these days. So it goes on, and as they do the trainings, as they meet, as they talk about what is happening within their communities of practice, we choose the best presentations. What happened in the community of practice, they report to us and they give us what they did. Then the best 2 presentations from each community or practice is accepted. I mean, the best 2 are accepted to be presented at the annual conference. So we are giving the teachers who would not have the opportunity otherwise to present at a conference, at a national conference. And today, when it comes to communities of practice, we are not going there to ask them, hey, can you form a community of practice? No, what is happening is the teachers themselves are requesting to establish a community of practice. So COPs, communities of practice, are no longer imposed by ATER, but it's now the teachers who are willing and who ask to actually create that. And we're talking about the takeaways, starting small and with intrinsically motivated members, looking at the members who really want to be part of that, not because of other reasons, but because they are more intrinsically motivated. And also to empower the community to nurture self-efficacy. So empowering the people who are there. So in our case, we empowered the community of practice leaders and told them, you are in charge. You're telling us what is happening. You are in charge. And that has really provided a lot of good input and good result. And then one of the other thing is really designing follow-up structures to ensure communities of practice are going in the right direction, and also disseminating information from COP, through conferences, website, social media, to attract more teachers to get together and participate in ATER events. So currently the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda has 8 communities of practice, and most of these communities of practice is to now teachers who come and say, hey, I need to start a community of practice in my area. How do I do with that? How do I do that? How do I start? Then we give them hints and we tell them this is what you can do, this is where you start. We give them these steps that they follow, and they are reporting to us. They meet and talk, and they talk to us. And sometimes we just send members of the association to go and visit them and see what is happening, talk about ATER, and we create that environment. We realize they are forming something themselves. It's not the ATER that is doing it for them, and that has really helped a lot. So really, in along 2008, 2018, it's been 10 years, and there are things to be proud of. As I said, expanding our support from 21 when we started as founding members, 21 members, actually from fewer even in 2008 when the association started, to over 350 members and beneficiaries around the country. Then growing 8 self-sustaining COPs. Right now, as I said, we have 8 communities of practice that are self-sustainable, that own their activities and report to us. And it's no longer us going there to offer trainings. And we've been having an annual conference every year since 2014. And we've networking at the regional, international level. We have we part of the IATFO, part of the TISO International as affiliates. We part of the Regional English Language Association, the African Lake Zone English Language Consortium, which just had their first conference last year in Tanzania, and are having their next conference in Uganda. And we are a founding member of that network. And we've managed to do a mindset change for most of our COP teachers about owning PD. This was really a big thing, having people understand that for me to do this, it's for me. It's not for anyone else. It's me, and I have to own it. But with that in mind, we also have to, we still have definitely some work in progress, reaching out to as many teachers as possible, beyond 350, because we have obviously a lot more English teachers in Rwanda. We are only working in 8 out of 30 districts that are in Rwanda, and accessing more teachers from remote areas, really bringing the COP concept to the remote areas, even where we haven't reached yet, and leading COP work towards action research. So all these ideas, all these things they talk about, how can we put them into writing and share with everyone in Rwanda and outside of Rwanda? That's one of the next steps that we feel like we will take. And also increasing and retaining the membership base. So these are mainly some of the things that ATER is going, things that we have tried as the association. And I'm getting close to a time where I will accept questions. Accept questions from everyone. You can see the chat box, and you can just write your question. I can already see a question asking, is free membership possible? Voluntary donation from members, outside funding, so that teachers don't have to pay a membership fee. So what, like I said, we now, we don't, for you to be part and to benefit from what ATER does, you don't have to pay membership, because in fact, in the communities, the 8 communities of practice that we have, you would find that in each community of practice, there's like 1 or 2 people who are members of the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda. As I said, the rest of those, we call them beneficiaries. These are people who are benefiting from what is happening. We don't have to pay a membership fee to become a member of a community of practice, but you have to pay a membership fee to become part of a member of the Association of Teachers of English in Rwanda. And that's part of looking at the commitment, people committed, and also attaching a value to you being a member of the association. So voluntary donation, yes, if a member would like to donate, that's great. They are all allowed. Outside funding, we do, like I said, we do work with some organizations. I said some work we've done with the British Council and some other organizations on supporting English teachers. And if it is a project owned by such an organization, then there is what the association gets, the association members. There is some income, some funding that comes from that, kind of consultancies, if I may call it that way, or partnerships, and that is used to support the teachers in rural areas. In these trainings that we do have, or the trainings that we do when we invite teachers from rural areas or from the COP leaders, I mean, we use such fund to actually run the trainings and the workshops. And we do grants. We do want some grants to run conferences, for example, and grants to, like right now we have a grant to run the community of practice work next year from Hornby School, which is associated in partnership with the International Association of Teachers of English as a foreign language, ATER. And that means it's a £2,000 grant, and that one is used to support the teachers in the communities of practice, which is why we use that and they don't need to pay. We're giving back to the community. People don't need to pay money. So if there is any other question, I'll be happy to answer it. What about editorials, publishers? Do they sponsor the events? Do schools use their own materials, or publishers use publishers' books? So good. With this, with the one of the things that we don't do when we talk about partners, our biggest partners are the schools where the teachers come from. We don't rent venues when we are doing trainings or conferences. We do it in the schools and universities that we have partnerships with. And some of our events, we have people who come and just to be part of the event. We haven't got the publishers, such organizations investing into it for publicity reasons, but that's the way forward, I think, looking at sustaining the association. And can ATER share the material received from a COP with another COP? Yes, this happens, and the way it happens, actually, one of the ways we do this, like I said, when COP leaders meet, they share what they have been doing into their groups. And when there is an interesting, some interesting work, if an association, I mean, if a COP feels like, oh, this is interesting, I need to have it, I can use it, then they will borrow that. And I mean, they will get it from the association, and they do it in their, they borrow it from this community of practice and use it in their community of practice. So that is, yes, done, because we're looking at best practices from each association and, I mean, from each community of practice, and trying to replicate it into another community of practice. And again, we make this more of the responsibility of the communities of practice rather than just us being there and leading everything. And and sharing again, when we meet, when the COP leaders meet, that's where they share everything. They share what happened, what they tried, what worked, what did not work. Is I'm answering to the question that asking if ATER can also share some COPs achievements and failures with other COPs. That happens. And if something didn't happen, didn't go well, the other TAs, the other community of practice know, yes, this did not go well, and this is what we can do. This is what we did. We tried to make things better, and they get feedback from other COP leaders on how they could do to make it better next time. So yeah, that does happen. That does happen a lot. That does happen a lot, and with the COPs, and again making them responsible. We bring them together. Another thing that you do is inter-COP visits. I don't think I mentioned this. So getting people who are like, say, okay, I'm in a COP in this district, I would like to see what the COP in another place is doing. Then they just do go there and visit. So they keep visiting each other. There is a really good interaction between COP members. They become friends, they become part of the same family, and they have a WhatsApp group that they use to share all the information, teachers asking questions and others answering questions very fast. So it has been a really good one, a good experience.
Richard, I'm sorry, but I think time is running out. We do have some more questions, but maybe the discussion can continue in another venue through the email addresses, through the Facebook page. We're coming to the end of the webinar, the 1-hour webinar. Thank you very much, Richard, for your contribution, for the information you have shared with us. Many of us probably do not know very much about the educational system in Rwanda, so this has been very informative and productive. I would like to also thank Valerie Novick at the TESOL office in Alexandria, Virginia, USA, for handling all of the logistics involved in carrying out this webinar. And again, I would like to give a special thank you to our presenter, Richard Niyibigira. And
thank you.
Please contact Richard if you would like to discuss all the issues that he has presented further. With this comment, we conclude the program. You may now disconnect. Thank you.